Hello there. After a few years of suppression for health and safety reasons, in-person training is back as the primary learning delivery modality. In fact, respondents to Brandon Hall Group's 2023 Learning and Development Benchmark Study anticipate increased usage for ILT, though there are notable levels of concern over its effectiveness over any other learning modality. Virtual classroom is a somewhat distant second. Throughout this research data highlight, we will ask you critical questions about your organization and help you face most challenges faced by L&D. It's no surprise that authoring tools and learning management systems came out on top. Even many smaller companies now have an LMS, though the market appears far from saturated for mid-sized business. Nearly 1/3 now have some form of social learning or collaboration platform. More than 25% have a video platform and a LCMS, and 24% have a micro-learning platform. More than 20% own learning operations platforms and coaching/mentoring platforms. This indicates a solid growth trend in those technologies. The fact that learning analytics tools are near the bottom in popularity may be one additional indicator of why L&D continues to struggle with learning measurement as a significant challenge. AR/VR are still fringe technologies and are less common in smaller companies than large companies or enterprises. If you look at this data comparing benchmarking data from 2023 versus 2020, you will see that the technology allocation in L&D budgets has increased 12.5%. It's Groundhog Day in L&D world. Again and again, the inability to measure the effectiveness of our learning is listed as the top challenge. Hand in hand with this fact is that nearly 2/3 of survey participants report their organizations do not assess how specific learning content has impacted organizational performance or individual job performance. Yet 78% report their L&D functions are aligned or well aligned with their organizations. Which begs the question, how can you tell you or if you don't know how your learning impacts organizational performance? Similarly, would an L&D organization which could successfully assess learning's impact its organization's performance have an easier or more difficult time making the case for additional L&D budget? Upskilling employees at the speed of business is a challenge which will only grow over time as there are no signs of deceleration on the horizon. As you can see here, no learning modality had a negative net effectiveness rating, but survey respondents expressed distinct preferences. Of special note, ILT, VILT, and mentoring coaching only were rated mid-range in effectiveness. These modalities scored best as highly effective. This reflects that a substantial plurality of respondents value these particular modalities very highly, even though some did not make the list of top net effective modalities, likely because they have been used successfully by that plurality. On the job, training has a positive effect of 28%. Mentoring/coaching/shadowing 26%. Webinars 24%, microlearning 23%, and special/peer-to-peer collaboration, cohort-based learning. Let's get critical. As you benchmark your learning organizations against those of your peers, ask yourself these questions. First, what specifically prevents your organization from measuring the impact of your learning on organizational or individual performance as effectively as possible? How can your learning team address those roadblocks? Next, what drives the selection and usage of learning modalities in your organization? If learning is being delivered in ways which are not considered to be as instructionally effective as they could be, why is that the case and what's the potential cost? Think about it. It's time to hear Brandon Hall Group's point of view. Crack the nut on measuring learning's impact on performance. Especially for learning programs focused on specific job roles and performance, your starting point for learning and performance support design should always be defining the performances, behaviors, and KPI your stakeholders want to address. Those same measures should then be used in evaluating the effectiveness of the learning initiative and guide any required program adjustments. If the KPI and impact data you seek is not readily accessible to you, then part of the learning program should be in agreement with your stakeholders to supply the data at predefined intervals. If the data is readily available to you via an integration with your LMS or an analytics tool, then work with your team to create data dashboards which clearly correlate learning uptake with organizational results. Stop getting stuck on correlation is not always causation. You're looking for evidence, not statistical certainty. You can also ask learning participants and their managers to rate to what extent a learning initiative had a hand in achieving specific results. It's quantitative evidence, but can be a critical C-level convincer. Thank you for tuning into this webisode.